Hello and welcome everyone back to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball live here from Alumni Field. My name is Charlie Brigham. Alongside me is Kelin, Flynn. We've got a good one lined up for you tonight, folks. The Michigan Wolverines taking on the Bowling Green Falcons in today's fall ball exhibition matchup. Kelin, it feels so good to be back.
Charlie, when you texted me about doing this game, I was so excited. I mean, it's a ton of fun. Softball is one of my favorite sports to call here at Michigan for WCBN, and it's a privilege to be out here in the fall, getting a chance to get a little scouting in maybe before the spring season starts up. But yeah, just a great atmosphere.
That indeed. So wasting no time, we're going to get right into the action. It's going to be LeBeau in the circle for the Michigan Wolverines, the right-handed hurler. The first Falcon due up is going to be L'Esperance. As the clock ticks over to 6:05 p.m., first pitch is a called strike in the outside. Nice frame by Kiki Thole. Kelin, a different look this year for the Wolverines. A lot of losses last year due to graduation, transfer, things of that nature. This is going to be a real proving season for this Michigan Wolverines team.
Absolutely. A lot of new talented freshmen coming in, a lot of new faces, like you said, and a lot of faces from last year that were in kind of smaller roles. They're going to really have to step up in this new look team for Michigan. And, I mean, you can't overstate how much has changed enough. New head coach, your two stud pitchers are both gone now, so there's going to be a lot changing for Michigan, but a lot of excitement with that.
After fouling off the 0-1, the count now sits 0-2. LeBeau set to deal. Off speed on the corner, and she rings her up. Great start for LeBeau. Gets L'Esperance looking, and that's going to be one up and one down for Bowling Green.
Yeah, absolutely. A hot start there for LeBeau. 3 pitches, 3 strikes, 1 out now for Michigan early.
That is going to bring up number 18, Michaela Dees. She will also step over on that left-hand side, situated very far back in the batter's box. First pitch, watched go by for her knees on a called strike 1. That's 4 pitches and 4 strikes thus far for LeBeau.
Jessica LeBeau dealing here early, still very early in the game, but she's looked real solid for this new coaching staff that's going to have to find some new pitchers to rely on.
Infield playing in the 0-1, an off-speed, dribbled right back at her. This one over towards third. Firing across the diamond is Audrey LeClaire, and that one's good for out number 2. LeClaire getting some work in the infield. A little bit different than her typical outfield positioning, but like we said, a lot of things are going to have to change with, all sorts of new bodies coming into this Michigan locker room.
Yeah, and like you said, we saw LeClaire all over the field, especially in the outfield last season, playing multitude of positions, getting the start at third base today. Be interesting to see how she's utilized throughout the rest of this fall ball slate and into the season.
First pitch dribbled softly towards shortstop, and that one's going to be a routine ground ball for Ella McVeigh. So 3 up and 3 down for LeBeau. And now the Wolverines are going to go out on the offensive attack. That one, a quick top half of the inning. Only about maybe 2 minutes from start to finish.
Yeah, that was real quick. And Michigan's going to get a chance now to see what that offense can bring. Again, a lot of new faces on the offense. For Michigan, some of your heavy hitters not in the lineup today. Lexi Blair still on the team. She's just getting a little rest day today, not participating in today's game. But love to see some of these younger faces, new faces, make an impact at the plate for Michigan, because that is where Michigan struggled in recent years, is getting some offense at the plate in times of need.
Yeah, Lexi just trying to stay warm right now. It's a chilly day in Ann Arbor. It feels like temperature's sitting at 42. Actual temperature at about 46 or 47. Wind blowing all over the place. But enough with the weather report. Let's get into the action. It's going to be Krafsick in the circle for the Falcons. And the Michigan lineup as it goes, top to bottom. They're batting 10 today in the exhibition. So it's going to be Ellie Mattia leading things off, followed by the aforementioned Audrey Claire batting second. Ellie Sealer, the center fielder, will find her spot in the 3-hole, and then cleaning things up will be Maddie Erickson. Batting fifth is the catcher Kiki Thole. Batting sixth, Indiana Langford. Seventh, the graduate transfer from Penn State, Melina Livingston, back for another round. And that's going to be Lexi Voss batting 8th, Ella McVeigh batting 9th, and then in that 10th spot that we mentioned, the second designated player in this lineup will be Hannah George.
Yeah, Wolverines getting some of these new faces, some chances here in this game. It's a scrimmage for Michigan. Again, just trying to see what they have against some real competition and see what these new players can do.
The throwdown comes from Williamson, and we are just about set to go. If you're just tuning in, we'd like to thank you for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball live here from Alumni Field. And, I mean, Kelin, we already mentioned it before, but it just feels so good to be back. A little colder than the first game we called together last year.
Just a little bit.
Down in sunny Tampa, Florida, but we'll push through.
Just a little bit chillier, but, I mean, I'll take it to be back in here up here in the booth with you, Charlie, and getting to watch some great softball today.
Into that left-handed batter's box steps Mattia. First pitch her way, a little bit too low, bounces out of the glove of Williamson, and that'll be good for ball number 1. As we mentioned, Mattia, the graduate transfer from Boston College, and boy, was she special over there in the ACC. 2-time All-ACC selection. Back in 2021, hit .371 for BC. That one good for 8th best in school history as she hits a line drive just through the infield, and that one's going to be down for a single.
And you talked about it hitting for average right there, and that one just gets over the shortstop and drops right ahead of the left fielder, and that's a base hit early for the Wolverines.
So a leadoff batter on base, nobody down. That'll bring up Audrey LeClaire. LeClaire in the past has shown that she's not scared to lay down a bunt, but you got to think in an exhibition game you're just going to be trying to get your cuts in, so we'd most likely see her swing away here. First pitch on the way from Krafzik is swung on. This one a high bouncer towards second base. The tag is applied to the lead runner. They're going to say he got her. So LeClaire will reach on a fielder's choice, and that will send Mattia back to the dugout.
And Ellie Sealer now in the 3-hole for Michigan, and this is a little different. Sealer typically was kind of all over the lineup last year for Michigan. Last year, Taylor Bump, Hannah Carson, the two right in that 3-4 spot area. Going to be different this year.
Another lefty at the start of this lineup. First pitch to Sealer is a changeup that just misses outside. The count will go 1-0.
And the Wolverines have a ton of speed, especially at the top of this lineup. And we'll get into Langford later.
The 1-0 to Sealer. That one again missing outside, and there's that speed we mentioned as Audrey LeClaire takes second base pretty much for free. The throw came down from Williamson, but not nearly in time.
Michigan's first runner in scoring position early. Only one out here in the bottom of the first. Wolverines going to be look to be aggressive here, and with really no stakes in this game, no reason not to be.
2-0 hitters count to Sealer. This one also missing outside. That'll push it to 3-0. We mentioned LeClaire's speed. She just showed it off there, snagging bag number 2. You got to think any ball through the infield, she's likely to score. Watching over on deck is Maddie Erickson. The 3-0 catches the outside corner. Sealer was already heading down towards first base, but she'll step back in and recoup with another hitter's count as it goes 3-1.
And Sealer is one of the players that's really going to have to step up this year for Michigan. Got a lot of playtime last year as a freshman.
And the 3-run is wasted low and away, so Sealer trots down harmlessly to first base. We talked about her a lot last year on the defensive end. As a freshman, she was an absolute rock in left field. It felt like anything that was even remotely hung up in the air near her, she was getting and bringing back down. But
well, in Tampa, I mean, we couldn't have said it enough. She made a number of incredible plays out there in left field for the Wolverines. Keeps them in games.
That'll bring up Erickson. Erickson, an incredible pitcher in high school, 2-time Oregon first-team All-State selection in the pitcher spot, trying to get things going on the offensive end here, and she hits a hard single through the middle of the infield. Throw's going to come in from the outfield. A great strike from L'Esperance to hold LeClaire at third, but with that single, the bases are now juiced, and that will bring up Kiki Thole.
And Kiki Thole, one of the veterans remaining in this lineup for Michigan. That's someone a real strong presence you like to have in that 4-hole spot for Michigan.
So 1 out, bases loaded here, and there's going to be a quick little meeting on the mound between Williamson and Krafzik. And I don't want to get too hung up on it, Kelin, but we mentioned the weather. It is a chilly, chilly night here in Ann Arbor, but that has not stopped the Michigan softball faithful from packing out Alumni Field today. I mean, beanies and scarves galore, but they are definitely filling the stands.
Yeah, you're right. It's a chilly night, but doesn't matter. Michigan softball faithful showing out in full force. Love to see it early in the fall season.
First pitch to Thole, low and away. That'll make the count 1-0. Plenty of speed on third and second. The 1-0 to Thole, another off-speed pitch. You saw her engage the hips, but made the right decision to lay off it. She'll have a 2-0 count. Krafsick struggling to find the zone here early for Bowling Green.
Yeah, Krafsick, I mean, in that count against Sealer, walked Sealer down 3-0, but there's a fly ball hit foul deep in the left. But this is a Michigan team that's going to take the pitches. They're not going to swing at garbage. They're going to really make whoever's in the circle for Bowling Green and whoever they're playing work, make them throw strikes. It's a very disciplined team with a very disciplined hitter at the plate in Kiki Thole.
You heard some oohs and ahs from the Michigan crowd. Thole turned on that one. She settles back in. Here comes the 2-1. This one, a changeup that bounces off home plate and up into the chest protector. Williamson, nice block to keep LeClaire honest over at third. And just speaking to Kiki Thole's power, she saw limited at-bats last year, only had 10 total hits on the season, but of those 10, 4 of them were home runs. And just as I say that, that ball is low and away for ball number 4. So Kiki Thole works a walk, and Audrey LeClaire makes her way all the way around after reaching on the fielder's choice. The stolen base set her up on second, and now Michigan has their first run of this ball game.
And the Wolverines only 1 out early, get a run on the board. This is what you want to see from this team, offense clicking early. The Wolverines, year in, year out, the goals win the Big Ten, make a push deep late in the or early in the summer in the national tournament. I mean, the aspirations are high for this team and this program year in and year out. That doesn't change with the departure of Carol Hutchins.
So following the walk, that will bring up Indiana Langford. And Kelin, we mentioned that we would talk about her in a minute. Just 5'2", very small frame from that left-handed side, but Langford can absolutely fly around the base pass. We were talking before the game, 2022 Nike All-American selection in track, as the first pitch is called strike at the knees.
And people talk about track speed, joke about that, other athletes playing other sports having track speed. That is the definition of track speed in another sport, putting it to use. I mean, Langford's just going to be a terror on the base paths this year for Michigan.
Chases the riser on 0-1, fouls it back. The count now 0-2. So it seems Krafsick kind of reeled it in following that mound meeting. Bases loaded, 0-2 count, 1 out up there on the board. That one misses well high. Nice set of eyes from Langford to push the count 1-2.
And Langford's still a freshman, so down 0-2, you'd really like to see how she responds in a hole in the count.
Still standing tall, the 1-2. Another rise ball high and outside. So Krafsick, after getting ahead in this count early, just kind of threw that away, missed well high and outside with 2 straight pitches. Those pretty much identical to even things out at 2-2.
And yeah, when you're up 0-2, you have the opportunity to throw off the plate a little bit, but you can't miss that badly. You have to keep it tight, just a little off, because you have the wiggle room being up 0-2. And just that quickly, now it's a 2-2 count, neutral count.
Langford fouled it off, so we're going to do it again. The 2-2 pitch, a changeup, soft floater into the outfield, and that one's going to drop down as a single. The outfielders run into each other, so no throw comes in time. It was definitely a single, got down cleanly, but the collision between L'Esperance and Dolis halted the throw from the outfield. So that's going to be another run in for Michigan. It's going to be an RBI single for Indy Langford. And now it's 2-0 Wolverines.
Yeah, Dolis there got knocked down by her own teammate, L'Esperance, and had to wait to get onto her knees to throw that in to third base. Ellie Sealer was well in by that point.
So still with bases loaded and 1 out, that'll bring up Melina Livingston. She takes a big hack on the 0-0 pitch.
And Melina Livingston, no stranger to having the bases loaded, last year launched a grand slam.
Yeah, came in last year as a graduate transfer from in-conference opponent, Penn State, and boy, was she incredible for this Michigan team as she watches the 0-1 go downstairs. Hit 284 last year for the Wolverines, tossing in 27 RBIs, 4 home runs, and a very impressive defensive season. Played most of the season on the defensive end over at second base. In the designated player position today, she pops this one up, 1-2s, and some fans jump out of the way as that ball drops kind of off to our right-hand side. That'll push the count 1-2.
Yeah, and Livingston, a very versatile defensive piece for Bonnie Thole and this Michigan coaching staff. They can use her at multiple positions in the infield and even throw her into the outfield if need be.
The 1-2 to Livingston. This one hit high and deep towards right field. That one back to the wall. Forget about it. A grand slam for Melina Livingston. And the Wolverines are racking it up here in the first inning. Make it 6-0.
The last 2 times I've been calling a game with Melina Livingston up with the plate with the bases loaded, she sent one over that right field wall. Just an absolute nuke from Melina Livingston. And the Wolverines really bust this one open. 6-0 now. And it was Dees in there and right, just kept backing up, got to the warning track and ran into the wall and watched it sail over her head into the grandstands in right field. Just a great piece of hitting there from Melina Livingston.
We mentioned she had the power. 4 home runs last year, and although this won't count for her statistics, that one's going to be good to keep in the back of her mind heading into this season. Amidst all the excitement, we missed the first pitch to the 8-hitter Lexi Voss. It was a ball low and away, so that strike right there from Grafsick will even things out. 1-1, a nice off-speed pitch that caught the corner.
And the Michigan crowd has to be pleased early with the offensive performance.
1-1 to Voss, hit foul. It'll bounce off the net, make the count 1-2. You know, we've seen some incredible home runs to right field here at Alumni. I think back to a game I called myself last year against Maryland where Lauren Essman hit an absolute bomb almost over the top of the grandstands and right. But that ball from Melina Livingston was just hit on the absolute screws as Lexi Voss floats this one towards right field. Settling under it is Henkel, and that one's going to be good for out number 2.
And that's a nice piece of hitting there from Voss. Just can't quite get enough juice on it to get it to leave the yard. And Bowling Green's able to record their second out.
That'll bring up the 9-hitter Ella McVeigh. Again, Michigan batting 10 in today's exhibition game. So the top of the order not quite up, and McVeigh tries to lay down a sneaky bunt down the third baseline. If it stayed fair, she would have been easily safe, but it tailed foul at the last moment. Nice play there by Carver to let it go.
And McVeigh, one of the slap hitters in this Wolverine lineup, very adept at laying down the bunt, plenty of speed to beat out a throw in the infield. Another one of these defensive chess pieces that the Michigan coaching staff can use all over the place.
That one, an off-speed pitch, catches the outside corner. Lexi Carver over there at third base, the transfer from the University of Louisville. The 0-2 to McVeigh. This one hit in the air towards left center field. Tracking it down is the left fielder Dolis, and that one's going to be good for out number 3. We head to the top of the second inning, but not before Michigan tacks it on. 6 runs in the bottom of the first inning, 4 of those coming off a grand slam from the bat of Melina Livingston.
Yeah, and the Wolverines' offense clicking early. Melina Livingston, like you mentioned, driving in that big grand slam. And Michigan very pleased with that offensive performance. And it didn't just come from one person. The Wolverines were getting hits throughout the lineup, showing power, showing speed on the base paths, showing the ability to hit for average. So this lineup early on is showing a lot of promise with a lot of new faces and a lot of young faces.
So following a 1-2-3 start to this game, it's going to be 4-5-6 due up. Reagan Williamson, the catcher, the aforementioned Lexi Carver, and then Hannah Hunt to round out that starting three. Following those three, it's going to be Bizak, Reed, Henkel to round it out before heading back to the top of the order. The throwdown comes from Kiki Thole, and we're just about set to go here in the top of the second. If you're just tuning in, boy, you missed one heck of a first inning. Michigan puts up 6 in the bottom of the first. But above all else, Kelin, to everyone at home, we'd like to thank you for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball live here from Alumni Field. Following this game, we've got one more softball game coming up in about a week or so, but we have plenty of other games coming up. We have a packed schedule at WCBN this week, so make sure to be tuned in.
Very, very busy weekend of broadcasts here at WCBN Sports.
First pitch from LeBeau. Seemingly missed just a bit high. That one looked good from our spot up here, but Williamson, the catcher, will get ahead in a 1-0 count here.
Once this game's over and this broadcast is concluded, feel free to hop over to WCBN 2, where Michigan hockey will be broadcast live from Yost.
An emphatic called strike in the outside corner to even things out at 1-1.
As I was making my way over here, I saw the first 2 fans lining up outside the student entrance at Yost. Looked down at my phone and I was like, wow, they are here 2 hours early. A lot of dedication from the children of Yost.
1-1 off speed, dribble towards third base. LeClaire taking her time to throw it across the diamond. That one good for out number 1. So we mentioned it'd be interesting to see the transition from LeClaire from the outfield and the infield, but thus far, although routine ground balls, she's played them well.
Yeah, absolutely. LeClaire's done a great job. I mean, fielded cleanly, delivered multiple strikes across the diamond, and that's all you can ask for from your third baseman in the situation so far.
First pitch to the 5-hitter Lexi Carver, misses low for ball number 1. Carver, as we mentioned, transfer from the University of Louisville. Corners of the infield playing even with the bag. Middle of the infield playing back. Wind has died down a bit. Was blowing out towards pretty much dead center a moment ago. And there, another emphatic strike call to even things out 1-1.
Really impressed with Jessica LeBeau so far. And I mean, it's still very early in this contest, but she's looked really solid early for Michigan.
That one rides inside. Looks like it hit that front left shoulder of Carver. So there, the first base runner of this ball game. A little bit of a broadcaster jinx there from Kelin.
I'm just going to shut my mouth now about LeBeau and let her do her thing.
So there's the first base runner. There goes the perfect game that went all of 1 1/3 inning. That'll bring up Hannah Hunt with a base runner on. Corner still playing even with the bags, mid of the infield and double play depth. And after hitting the batter, LeBeau bounces right back. Nice pitch on the lower outside corner for a called strike. So here's some Let's Go Hannah chants coming from that Bowling Green side. The 0-1 set to deliver. Here's the windup from LeBeau. That one missing inside. Nice pitch.
And LeBeau is going to be really one of the key pieces for Michigan with no Megan Bobie and no Alex Storako on the roster anymore. There's going to need to be a couple of pitchers that really step up. Lauren Durkowski is one that would come to mind, but it's not just going to be one person. It's going to have to be multiple players on this Michigan team that step up to take over and fill those huge shoes left behind from 2 really great pitchers from Michigan.
A big cut from Hunt, just barely caught a piece of it. That'll push the count 1-2. LeBeau, deep breath, spinning that ball in the right hand. Now goes to the windup. The delivery off speed, and again, barely getting a piece of it is Hunt, but enough to keep her alive. The count stays 1-2.
Making LeBeau work for this one. I think this is the longest at-bat of the game for Bowling Green so far.
Another deep breath from LeBeau. The 1-2. Off speed, hit on the ground. That one's going to hit the base runner. Michigan catches a lucky break there. Carver was taking off towards second. Had that ball missed her, it would have been an easy single through the infield. That ball kind of in no man's land. But as I said, it hits Lexi Carver. So Hannah Hunt will reach on a fielder's choice. And that one will be the second out of the inning.
Yeah, like you said, lucky break there for Michigan. Carver sent to the dugout. And essentially a fielder's choice that was set up by Bowling Green.
So with 2 outs and a runner on, that'll bring up Ellie Bezak. She follows off pitch number 1. That'll push the count 0-1 with 2 outs. Some fans still trickling in here at Alumni Field, all donned in their coats and blankets. A little bit of action down in the Bowling Green bullpen. Looks like 2 players down there just trying to stay loose.
A lot of action this weekend in Michigan athletics. Really excited to see what else is cooking.
The 1-1 from LeBeau. This one swung on and missed. Just blew it by Bezak. That'll push the count 1-2 in LeBeau's favor.
That might be the best pitch I've seen from LeBeau so far today. Excellent pace on that one. Just knocked it right past Bezak.
The second baseman, Winnie Reed, trying to get a read over there on deck, but it's not going to matter. LeBeau blows it by Bezak for strikeout number 2 on the day. That's 2 swinging strikeouts, and that'll bring us to the bottom half of the second inning. So 3 up and 3 down in the top half of the first inning, and then 4 up in the top half of the second. An efficient outing thus far for LeBeau.
And LeBeau, someone that didn't get a lot of opportunities the last couple of seasons, a junior here at Michigan, but had a lot of chances to learn from 2 of the best pitchers in program history in Bobian and Storako, and that's really showing, again, very early in a scrimmage game, but I think Jessica LeBeau is going to be someone Michigan needs to lean on in this season, along with Lauren Durkowski, to get through especially that rough early season schedule, because Michigan really challenges themselves to play some tough competition early on.
So it'll be Grafsick back out there in the circle for Michigan, and it's going to be 10, then top. Again, Michigan hitting 10 today in the exhibition game. 2 designated players, one of which will be Hannah George, who's leading things off. So 10, then top, George, Mattia, LeClaire. It was Mattia who got things started with a leadoff single in the first inning, a line drive that got through the infield and bounced its way into left field. Hannah George, a graduate transfer from UNC, coming into Michigan to use some of your final little bits of eligibility. And if Hannah George is anything like the last UNC transfer that Michigan got. I was just going to
say, Michigan's had some luck with these North Carolina transfers.
Obviously, that little anecdote in reference to Christina Burkhart, who last year, after coming to the University of Michigan as we mentioned, a grad transfer from UNC, was just absolutely incredible. A .369 hitter for this Michigan team. Led the team in pretty much every major offensive category. And right away, we're going to get things going. They're going to appeal down to first base in the check swing. George, pretty clearly from up here, didn't go, but doesn't hurt to check, so the count goes 1-0.
Yeah, talking about Burkhart hit for average. Had some nice pop, too. Quite a few extra base hits. I mean, when we were down in Tampa, it was nothing but doubles and triples.
Again, pitch missing from Krafsick. That'll make it a 2-0 hitters count here for Hannah George when she steps back in. Yeah, you mentioned those doubles. Burkhart last year, 20 doubles on the season. The 2-0 pitch to George. Loaded early, but let it go by. And a good eye there. That'll push the count 3-0.
I really like the mindset this coaching staff has taken for this game. Expect to see almost everyone that's active on the roster today get some action and really see what they have.
George gets the green light on 3-0 and drives that one back to the warning track, but tracking it down is Henkel. Hit it on the screws, but just couldn't find a gap. A nice quality swing from George, and that'll bring us to the top of the order.
Good swing there. Great contact from George. Just not quite enough juice. Took the right fielder all the way out to the warning track, but just not quite far enough.
So here comes Mattia, tries to slap, but knocks it foul. Again, we mentioned singled in her first time up, but was caught out as the lead runner when Audrey LeClaire reached on a fielder's choice.
This coaching staff went portal hunting this offseason, and they brought in some real solid talents. Mattia, one of them. We've already mentioned Hannah George. Expect these veterans to really make an impact in this Wolverine lineup, especially early in the season.
Krafzik missed on the 0-1, so the count even here. This one hit in the air again towards right field. Trying to settle under is Henkel and making the play. That one good for out number 2.
Mattia had some nice power in that swing, just didn't quite square it up cleanly. Got a little too far underneath it and just put a lot of backspin on that ball, sending it up into the air, not quite up and out.
So after a monstrous first inning, it's 2 up and 2 down for Michigan. That'll bring up Audrey LeClaire. Again, reached on a fielder's choice her first time up, stole second, and then was eventually knocked in from the Maddie Erickson single. First pitch her way, a called strike. Now she'll set it back in. The count goes 1-1. LeClaire labeled as a utility player, though most of her Michigan career spent it in the outfield. The 1-1 coming her way now. This one hit on a line towards center field and right into the glove of L'Esperance. A beautiful swing from LeClaire, but just couldn't find a gap.
That's some nice defensive work there from Bowling Green. They got punched in the mouth in that first inning with the Wolverines dropping 6 runs early. Settle down, calm the nerves, come back, and keep the Wolverines quiet and get through unscathed there in the bottom of the second.
So Michigan goes 1-2-3 there in the bottom of the second. After, again, we mentioned they go 6 runs in the bottom of the first, but that's not to say that was a bad offensive inning for Michigan. All 3 players, George, Mattia, and LeClaire, making solid contact. LeClaire especially, she hit that ball on the screws, just couldn't seem to find the gap.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really what you're more concerned with if you're this Michigan coaching staff. You're not necessarily looking for everything to translate into runs. You don't need this isn't the game where you're hoping everything bounces your way. This is where you're more so just looking at process rather than results, and making sure that all your players are doing the right things to lead this team to success in the future. Because winning this game by 1 run, 5 runs, 10 runs, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count towards your record. So you're really just looking for good contact, good swings, everything to be fundamentally sound from your ball club.
Obviously, a W in the back of your mind is, it's something you look for, but yes, I completely agree. This game is, and really this whole fall ball slate is more so player development, seeing what you have. Although Michigan, in this fall ball slate, they had 5 games total, 2 of which were a doubleheader against Central Michigan back last week. They're 3-0 right now. A win against Toledo and 2 wins against Central. So would like to keep that clean, but again, not the main focus here. But we're good to go in the top of the third. LeBeau back in the circle. First pitch. A bunt was attempted to be laid down, but just went backwards.
And real quick pop there from Kiki Thole. I mean, she was all over that one. Nice defensive play from the catcher. Won't go down as an out, but awesome defensive work there from Kiki Thole behind the dish.
Yeah, Winnie Reed can fly around the base pass, so good heads-up play there by Thole, just being ready and cognizant of the potential bunt. Corner's now playing up. And now LeBeau missing upstairs. The rise ball up near the eyes of Reed.
Just got a little bit away from her. Nothing to worry about, but something she's got to rein in just a little bit.
The count sits 1-1. The windup from LeBeau. Swung on, fouled back. That'll make it 1-2. So the score sits 6-0. Bowling Green going to have to start chipping away here as we enter the top of the third inning. Reed, the first Falcon due up. It'll then be Henkel, and then back to the top of the order in L'Esperance. The 1-2 pitch. That one again missing upstairs, up near the chin. That'll push the count 2-2.
And again, talking about changes from last year, Kiki Thule, kind of the secondary catcher behind Hannah Carson, and now will take over that primary catching role for Michigan. And there's a number of other catchers on the roster. Looking at Jessica Garman as a potential, likely the secondary catcher for Michigan this year.
Very close miss on the outside corner there. That'll push the count full. First 3-2 count for LeBeau today, and we'll see what she does here in crunch time. Deep breath. Now here comes the windup. The payoff pitch, and that one low. She walks her. So a nice at-bat from Reed to work the walk. That'll bring up the 9-hitter Marty Henkel, and then the top of the order, Greta Lesperance, will step over on deck.
And the Wolverines will take a moment to pause, meet up here after LeBeau walks her first batter of the night. Nice chat going on.
Reed not scared to run. Saw a good amount of action last year as a pinch runner. Only 54 at-bats. Couple stolen bases to her name. Might get to see Bowling Green test the pop time of Kiki Thule here.
And I'm sure if you're Michigan, that's something you wouldn't hate to see. You want to see what your catcher can do. See if Kiki Thule, I mean, you obviously you see it in practice every day, but you want to see it against live competition. You want to see it when you against the players that you're not seeing in practice every day. A live game situation, see how your players react.
The right fielder Henkel steps in, and a couple hard steps right away from Reed. A big swing and a miss. Count goes 0-1. The runner stays put at first.
And Kiki Thole did a good job right there answering any questions about that pop time.
LeBeau shakes off the first sign, now says yes to the second again. Tip into the glove here. Thole popped up, ready to throw Reed out. She's just daring her to run, staring back down to first base every time.
And that's a catcher that's done their scouting report. I mean, Kiki Thole clearly is very aware of Reed's tendencies on the base paths.
The 0-2 swung on and missed. So 3 straight swing and a miss from Henkel. LeBeau just blowing it by her. That'll bring up the top of the order in Greta Lesperance.
And Bowling Green has really struggled when LeBeau has upped the ampage a little bit and kind of turned up the heat on these pitches. They've been really struggling to keep up with the velocity from Jessica LeBeau. I think that's something she should continue to go to in this game.
And apologies, looks like Bowling Green is also going to hit 10. They're going to throw the pitcher Krafsick up there at the plate. Had to quick take off the hand warmer as she watches pitch number 1 go by for a called strike at the knees.
Love to see a pitcher who can rake as well.
4 straight swing and a misses from LeBeau as she sets the deal here. Off speed this time, just missing upstairs. Couple hard steps over at first from Reed. Again, Thole just kind of shooting her the side eye, daring her to go.
I think Kiki Thole wants her to run.
The 1-1 swung on and missed again. LeBeau is dealing thus far in the top of the 3rd inning here. The score, again, still Michigan 6-0 following the monster first inning, highlight of which was the Melina Livingston Grand Slam. LeBeau's 1-2. Off speed upstairs. Thole popped right up looking over towards first base, maybe trying to look for a back pick.
Thole is getting a really nice workout there, having to pop up and down after every pitch.
If anything, keep you a little bit warm. The 2-2 swung on and missed again. LeBeau dicing up these Falcon hitters. That's 2 up and 2 down, both of which struck out swinging. So that'll bring up the top of the order in Greta Lesperance. Her first and only time up so far in the first inning, struck out swinging. Looking for a bit of redemption here. First pitch, slapped over towards second base. Coming over, trying to make the play is Reed, but can't quite keep it in. Or, correction, that's Langford, as Reed reaches safely on second. That ball wasn't real hardly hit, just kind of found that no man's land position right behind second base.
And Ella McVeigh just couldn't quite get there. McVeigh has great speed, just a little behind that one. Langford able to get behind the ball and field it cleanly to prevent a potential extra base opportunity for Bowling Green.
First pitch to Dees is hit right back down into the plate. Kiki Thole lets it bounce foul. Count will go 0-1. So Winnie Reed now the first base runner to reach second base for the Bowling Green Falcons today.
First runner in scoring position for the Falcons. First time this Michigan defense has really, and Jessica LeBeau from the circle has really had any kind of pressure so far.
The 0-1 pitch catches the outside corner, make it 0-2. LeClaire was crashing in preparation for a bunt on her way back. Share some words of encouragement for LeBeau, who's well ahead in the count now, 0-2. Spinning the ball on the right hand, now goes to the windup. Off speed, just missing outside. Thole held it for an extra second, looking for the call.
Nice job trying to frame that one from Thole, but the umpiring staff here really not fooled.
The 1-2 from LeBeau. Hit softly on the ground towards third. Coming over to field it is McVeigh. And an awkward little play there. All the runners are going to reach safely. That ball was to Audrey LeClaire's forehand. She dove for it. McVeigh got it cleanly. Probably could have thrown it across the diamond, but looked to tag the runner in Reed advancing towards third. But now its base is juiced.
And in a 2-out, 2-strike count for LeBeau, just kind of a fielding error there for McVeigh leads to bases loaded.
And just like that, though, Bowling Green unable to capitalize. Nice pitch from LeBeau. Jams Peyton Dolis. And that one a soft dribbler towards third base. All Audrey LeClaire has to do is field it cleanly, step on third. And that's going to keep Bowling Green scoreless again for the third straight inning. We head to the bottom of the third. Michigan still up 6-0.
And a nice job there by LeBeau getting out of the jam. Obviously bases loaded. First real tough situation she's been in so far tonight, and handled it calmly. Like you said, jams Dolis, forces a soft dribbler right down that third baseline, and Audrey LeClaire is able to field it cleanly, take one step back, and get the Wolverines out of the inning unscathed.
3 hard-hit balls in the bottom of the second inning, but none of them could find the gaps. So Michigan going to look to tack on some more here. To start things off for Michigan, it's going to be the 3-hitter Ellie Sealer, followed by the cleanup batter Maddie Erickson, and then rounding things off will be Kiki Thole. Those the first 3 due up. The next 3 after that, Indiana Langford, we mentioned, the speedster in the 6-hole, and then Melina Livingston, who busted things open with that grand slam back in the top half of the, or bottom half rather, of the first inning.
And that's the kind of excitement you want to see in a fall ball game like this. Not, again, the stakes not high at all, but just get the crowd into it, get some energy going, get the vibes good for this ball club, because you definitely don't want to come out of the fall ball season leave with a bad taste in your mouth, feeling like you didn't quite play up to as well as you could, or that you left something out there.
Temperature continues to drop here at Alumni Field as the sun sinks further and further towards the horizon. First pitch towards Ellie Sealer is hit towards left field, curving towards the foul line, but a nice play on the run from Dolis is good for out number 1.
And after the miscommunication in the bottom of the first inning from the outfield and for Bowling Green, they've been really solid at tracking down these fly balls, keeping the Wolverines off the base paths.
So 1 pitch and 1 out. A efficient start to the inning for Krafsick. That'll bring up Maddie Erickson, who watches pitch number 1 go by. It's an off-speed pitch low and away, good for ball number 1. Again, missing outside here is Krafsick. This one high and outside. That'll be a 2-0 hitter's count for Erickson when she steps back in.
Maddie Erickson, another one of these talented freshmen that the Wolverines are looking to see some big things from.
takes a big hack at the first pitch she sees in the zone, follows it backwards into the net. The count will go 2-1.
I'm a big fan of these yellow jerseys at home for Michigan.
That would be Mays, Kelin. Lock it in. WCBN's very own Zach Linfield would be very disappointed that you called it yellow instead of Mays.
He would. Thankfully, I'm not going to Indiana with him this weekend. He would probably hassle me the entire car ride there and back.
Say, Zach, what's that club you're head of again? The Yellow Rage?
Excited for WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. Heading down to Bloomington. Got a great crew going down there. Kendall Spencer, Ryan Dolson, William Gregory, and, of course, Zach Linfield will be on the call.
Full count here towards Erickson. Hits this one high and far towards right field, trying to track it down as Henkel, but it bounces foul. So following the deep foul ball, that'll keep the count at 3-2. Watching over on deck is Kiki Thole. The wind up from Krafsick. The payoff pitch again. This one bounces off home plate. And Erickson frustrated there. She wanted to swing, but she'll trot down harmlessly towards first base.
Again, love to see these Michigan players drawing a walk. It's the easiest way to get on base. You don't have to do anything. You just have to not swing when a ball is not over the plate.
So Erickson reaches on the walk, works a nice full count walk, and then Michigan will elect to pinch run for her. Coming in to pinch run will be number 14, Ilaqua. So both Janelle Ilaqua and Kiki Thole looking over towards Bonnie Thole over at third base. First pitch towards Thole, missing low and away. That'll push the count 1-0. Again, if you're just tuning in, we'd like to thank you for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball live here from Alumni Field. As that one misses low and away, pushing the count 2-0. We've got a packed slate here this weekend. We got this game going on currently, and then after this game, you can tune on over to our second channel, WCBN Sports 2, for Michigan ice hockey coverage as Kiki Thole hits a line drive over towards shortstop. And almost doubled up as Ilaqua, but a nice head first slide to get back.
Great awareness by Ilaqua. Sees that ball, line drive into the shortstop's mitt. Makes a great decision to just dive head first back into first base.
So that'll bring up Langford. Singled in their first time up. Shows bunt on the fresh count. And it's going to... She pulled back, but it's not going to matter. The count goes 0-1 and called strike.
And you talked about the broadcast slate tonight. I mean, tomorrow, football, volleyball, both happening. Or, excuse me, more volleyball tonight at 8:30, and then another volleyball match Saturday at 7. Packed slate on the WCBN Sports YouTube channel.
0-2 count here for Langford. 2 outs and a runner on. And make it a 1-2 count as Krafsick decides to waste one. And Kelin, for everyone at home who's sitting there thinking, oh, I wish I could stay up to date with WCBN Sports. If only they had a Twitter account. Well, let me tell you something. Go over to twitter.com and head on over to WCBN Sports. Make sure to follow us there. Turn on notifications so you can be notified anytime we go live. We also have some pictures from past football games. Bethany Furness has been incredible for us this year on the photography end of things. So make sure to tune in and follow us for all sorts of quality content.
We're a multimedia company, Charlie. We do it all. We call games. We take photos. Amir Bektash and I were down at the Maryland game working for Fox, taking stuff for their socials.
Don't go plugging other stuff on our broadcast, Kelin. Come on now. What are we doing here? The 2-2 to Langford, fouled off again.
With all due respect, Charlie. I love WCBN Sports. If Fox comes calling, I might have to take him up on it.
Yeah. We'll see about that. We'll see. The count's still 2-2 to Indy Langford. This one swung on, hit over towards third base. It's going to be a bang play, but nice throw from the third baseman Carver to retire the side. We head to the top of the fourth inning. Michigan still up 6-0, but went scoreless in the last 2 innings.
And if Langford's not getting there, no one's getting there.
Yeah, we mentioned her incredible speed, 2022 Nike All-American selection in track and field. And talk about someone who can fly around the base paths. Speaking of someone who can fly, and sort of baseball, softball related, the Atlanta Braves are looking for a new freeze. If Adam Bressler is listening, you know how much of a fanatic he is for the freeze. If you're unaware, the Atlanta Braves have a little, like, between innings, I guess, I don't even know what you would call it, like,
He's
little
an entertainer.
Yeah, they pull fans out of the stands to race this guy they call the freeze, and he just, like, gives them this big head start, like, basically lets them get to center field. They run from foul pole to foul pole around the wall, and then just takes off and dusts all these random people. Bressler looked it up the one day. I think he was like, he ran like the 400 meter at Georgia State or something, and then the Braves like saw it. Somebody from the Braves was at a track meet or something, and they decided to recruit him as their entertainment. But he's done with the Braves. He's on to bigger and better things.
But it was such a hit. They need a new one now.
Yeah, they need a new freeze. So if you are in the Atlanta area,
track and field inclined,
go try out to be the freeze. Tell them WCBN sent you, and they might give you a coupon.
Give you $2 off a ballpark soda.
Don't quote me on that. I don't know if I can get in trouble for offering up free coupons. Tell the Atlanta Braves that Charlie sent you, and they'll give you season's tickets.
That's a big step up from a $2 off a ballpark soda.
You probably get season's tickets if you're the freeze, right? I feel like you'd have to.
I can't see them not having him anymore. Somebody's got to step up and fill that role.
Anyway, enough about the freeze.
Freeze isn't playing softball here in Ann Arbor.
Stepping up to the plate for Bowling Green is the catcher Williamson. Watch the first pitch go by for ball number 1. Fouled off pitch number 2. That'll even things out at 1-1. The wind has died down a little bit, so doesn't feel as cold here at Alumni Field.
Yeah, that big American flag in center field's down, but some of the smaller Michigan flags behind the plate are still blowing.
Nice play over there at first base from Erickson. A hard line drive hit to her forehand. Just stays in there, makes the play. That one good for out number 1.
She didn't even have to move. That was hit right to her mitt. Gets that leather around it, secures it tightly, and brings up the next batter.
That'll bring up Lexi Carver. She was the one who got things started when they loaded the bases. She got hit by a pitch back in her last time up, and she watches pitch number 1 go by here for ball number 1. These likely the last at-bats we see from people like Williamson and Carver. We heard some rumors before the game that Bowling Green was going to do a complete 9-for-9 switch at the 5th inning mark just to get some more bodies in there. And as I say that, a nice line drive through the middle of the infield from Lexi Carver, and she's on with a single.
That's one of the best hit balls we've seen from Bowling Green today. And Carver, her second time reaching the base paths, she's been the most effective batter in this lineup for the Falcons.
So 1 base runner on and 1 out. That'll bring up Hannah Hunt. Hunt, the shortstop, has looked good defensively so far. Looking to translate that to some offense. Big swing and a miss. The count 0-1. Carver, not much of a threat to run at first base, but she has decent speed. A well-placed ball could score her from bag number 1. The wind-up and pitch from LeBeau. This one up near the eyes, make it a 1-1 count now.
And the corner is taking a step or two in during LeBeau's wind-up. Maybe have some tendencies here on Hunt.
LeBeau taking her time here, now delivers the 1-1. That one right at the knees. Nice pitch there to push herself ahead in the count. It goes 1-2.
Painting that bottom of the strike zone there. LeBeau gets an emphatic call.
Nods no to the first sign, now says yes to the second. The 1-2 rides inside, almost hits the batter Hunt. But that'll push the count 2-2, trying to time things up. Over on deck is the first baseman, Bizak. Infield playing back, the 2-2. Swung on and missed. Nice pitch there from LeBeau, blows it by her. That one good for out number 2.
Jessica LeBeau, like you said earlier, she's been dealing so far for Michigan. Second out of the inning.
Make it 5 strikeouts on the night, all of them coming on swings and misses. That'll be 2 outs now and a runner on, and big swing right away from the senior from Uniontown, PA. Bizak goes down 0-1 in this count early.
And really, for Bowling Green, it's been Carver and it's been no one else. Providing an offensive spark for the Falcons. Somebody else in this lineup needs to get going.
Bizak didn't see too much action last year from Bowling Green. Only 61 at-bats. Had 1 RBI and 13 hits to her name in that time. She watches the 0-1 go by for a ball. It's going to have to be a bigger part of this Falcons lineup this year. Points that back towards the backstop. The 1-1 up near her eyes, make it 2-1 now.
Charlie, I've said it already, but I've been really impressed with Kiki Thol's work behind the plate for Michigan. Been a real steady presence so far.
The 2-1. And just to mention Kiki Thole, a nice frame there to get that ball from what might have been a little bit inside to over the plate, and that evens things out at 2-2.
That's one of the marks of a really seasoned veteran catcher, is that they're able to frame effectively.
Swung on and missed. LeBeau gets her to chase upstairs, making her 6th strikeout of the night, her 2nd of the inning. And she just continues to blow through these Falcon hitters.
And that's right, Charlie. She has just been dominant so far. A lot of swings and misses, and that's something that Michigan fans are accustomed to seeing from the circle. And Jessica LeBeau continuing that trend, making it really tough on these Falcon hitters.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier in the broadcast that Michigan's going to have to look to some other places for their production from the circle this year without Megan Beaubien or Alex Storako. Of course, Beaubien graduated, was a 5th-year senior last year. Alex Storako transfers to the University of Oklahoma like they needed any more help down there. So Storako's a Sooner. Michigan's going to look to their reinforcements from last year to carry a large percent of the weight. I mean, LeBeau has looked fantastic thus far. We mentioned names like Lauren Durkowski earlier in the broadcast.
And Durkowski's somebody as a freshman. We saw her really as kind of that third option. Annabelle Widra, not with the team anymore, transferred out as well, was another one of those kind of ancillary pitching options. But Durkowski is really going to have to take a big step for Michigan. And I think she's definitely capable of that and really assuming a larger role in the circle from this Michigan pitching rotation.
Yeah, at the start of the year, it was kind of Durkowski that was that third option when Storako or Beaubien needed a break. But towards the end of the year, especially in the Big Ten tournament, we saw Annabelle Widra kind of step into that role and gave up her spot in the middle of the infield to step into the circle and was very productive. But Durkowski was there all the while, was very good when she was called upon. And names like Emerson Aiken are also going to have to step up for this Michigan team. Aiken this year, a sophomore. And speaking of pitching, we've got a new hurler in the circle for the Falcons. Stepping in now to pitch. We'll get you that number as soon as possible. Looks like a jersey I don't have on my roster, number 88. With the count now 1-1, it's Livingston up for the second time today. Kelin, do you remember what happened in her first time up? I can't quite think of it.
It's coming back to me. I think there were a lot of runners on, and I'm pretty sure it had something to do with the right field wall. I don't quite remember exactly what happened. I just remember there being a bigger number on the scoreboard for Michigan after she touched home plate.
2-1 count to Melina Livingston here. Looking to follow up after that monster grand slam back in the first inning. Puts the right foot way back in the batter's box. This one dealed, dribbled down the third base line, rifled across the diamond from Carver, and able to get Livingston in time. Livingston, not a speed demon, but still hustles well out of the box. A hard 60 down towards first base, but a nice play for out number 1.
Carver to Bizak. A little 5-3 out there for the Falcons, and having some rock-solid corner infield play is really key. And the Falcons so far have looked like they've had some solid pieces in Bizak and Carver.
That'll bring up Lexi Voss, her first and only time up, back in the first inning. A deep fly ball towards right field, but a nice play by Henkel. She was able to track it down. The count 1-0 and make it 1-1 now as the off-speed pitch, a nice one there, catches the outside corner.
Bright lights are on here, lighting up Alumni Field as the sun's starting to go down. A little under the lights action here that we're getting treated to.
The count sits 2-1 for Lexi Voss. 1 out, no runners on. Ella McVeigh watching over from the on-deck circle. The 2-1 hit on a line. That one's going to get through the infield and drop down for a single. Nice play there by Dolis to get it in quickly. But an even better piece of hitting there from Lexi Voss.
Yeah, Lexi Voss steps up to the plate and just delivers a strike down into that that left center field area, just in between L'Esperance and Dolis.
That'll bring up McVeigh. Flew out to left field in their first time up in the first inning. First pitch, high and outside. Voss thought about second base for a moment, but made her way back. Voss with decent speed over there on bag number 1, and ball down the line, could potentially score. The 1-0 to McVeigh. That one missing the opposite direction this time, low in the zone. That'll push a 2-0 hitter's count here.
If you're Michigan, this is the type of situation you want to be in. 2-0 count. Ella McVeigh really adept at hitting for average, just getting contact on the ball.
That was the pitch she wanted, but just couldn't quite get herself to swing. It was a 2-0 pitch, hitter's count right down the middle. You saw her kind of fire the hips, and then after watching it go by, turn in frustration towards the dugout. Like, that one was my one. The 2-0 pitch here. Check swing, it's not going to matter. It's a called strike on the outside. So from 2-0 to now 2-2, Bowling Green fighting their way back in this.
Still don't have an update on that pitcher for Bowling Green. She's not on any of our rosters that were distributed by the athletic department.
The 2-2 to McVeigh's dribbled foul down the first base line. Voss got a good jump over there at first. So again, Michigan hitting 10 today in the exhibition game. It's McVeigh batting 9th, and that's going to be Hannah George, the graduate transfer from UNC, rounding things out, batting 10th. The 2-2 delivery on the way. This one swung on, hit towards third base. It's going to be a tough play for Carver. Across the diamond, not in time. Ella McVeigh showing off the speed there, just legging out an infield single, and an athletic play from Carver, but just not enough behind that throw to get the out.
Yeah, Carver made a nice clean pick, delivered a strike across the diamond, and Bizak made a nice effort to stretch to get the out there, but Ella McVeigh just too fast, able to beat out the throw and put a runner in scoring position for Michigan.
That'll bring up Hannah George, her first time up, a line drive to the warning track in right field.
And aggressive leads from both McVeigh and Voss. After both, every time really the pitch has been thrown, they've been taking aggressive jumps.
The 1-0 to George, hit hard towards third base. Carver fields it cleanly, tries to go for the double play, but not in time. She gets the lead runner, McVeigh. George will reach on a fielder's choice.
That one just hit right down the third base line, right into Carver's glove, and she's able to tag third, but can't quite get the throw to first base in time. Great speed there from Hannah George to beat it out. Wolverines 2 out, still have a runner in scoring position, still very capable of striking here with a capable hitter at the plate.
That'll bring up the top of the order, and Ellie Mattia singled her first time up, flew out to right field her last time up. So the top of the order has some work to do. They've got a runner in scoring position in McVeigh. She can fly her on the base paths.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine anything out of the infield can score McVeigh.
Big hack on 1-0, dribbled over towards the Bowling Green dugout. Coach tried to make a nice play, jumping out of the dugout, but just couldn't quite get there. Didn't have the extension.
Not quite enough length to make that grab.
The 1-1 pitch to Mattia. This one, a changeup that just kind of floated its way over. Count sits now 2-1. Mattia again, the graduate transfer from Boston College. A .330 hitter just about in her time at BC. And that's going to be a foul ball. Chase that one low in the zone. And the count now 2-2.
And Ella McVeigh was about 3/4 of the way to third base by the time that Mattia made contact with that pitch.
The 2-2 on the way to Mattia. High and outside. That'll go full count. So runners will be going here with a full count and 2 outs. So no matter where this ball is placed, with Ella McVeigh's speed at second base, especially since they'll be running, you got to think she might score, and that's going to be ball 4. That one a close call. Mattia trusting her instincts there to let it go by, and that's going to walk the bases full.
And again, that's something you see from a seasoned hitter, a grad transfer that's played a lot of softball at the collegiate level. Just a much better trained eye and able to distinguish those pitches a lot better. Great call there from Mattia, and she'll load the bases for Michigan.
And Hannah George is going to head back to the dugout, and we'll have another pinch runner for Michigan. And looks like it is going to be Alakwa again.
Alakwa, the freshman from South Carolina, with some great speed. His coaching staff wants to get her on the base paths, give her as many chances as they can to put some hurt and pressure on the defense.
First pitch to LeClaire, swung on and missed. She was unhappy with that swing. You could tell as soon as she followed through. LeClaire, the senior from Phoenix, Arizona, looking to get things done here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The 0-1 pitch misses alone outside, even things out 1-1. You know, if you're Michigan, you're in a very advantageous position here. Obviously, bases loaded is always great, but with the speed that you have on base, Ella McVeigh at third, Alakwa at second. Mattia, arguably the slowest of those 3, as LeClaire hits this one towards center field. It's not going to matter. Falls right into the glove of L'Esperance. And we head to the top of the 5th inning. The score here in Ann Arbor, still 6-0. It was Melina Livingston who broke things open with that grand slam at the bottom of the 1st, and Michigan hasn't needed any more since.
Yeah, and that's been due to some stellar pitching from Jessica LeBeau. And in the she's been tremendous so far. 6 strikeouts, all of them swinging. As we look like we'll see a pitching change for Michigan, but through LeBeau's 4 innings of work, she was tremendous. 0 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. Can't ask for a lot more. And this defense has been solid as well. They've been making plays when they need to for LeBeau.
Should be noted that all 6 of those strikeouts were swinging strikeouts. I mean, she was just dicing up these Bowling Green hitters. But as you mentioned, her day is done. It's going to be Emerson Aiken, the right-handed sophomore from Henrico, Virginia. She will take her spot in the circle now. Again, if you're just tuning in, would like to thank you for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball here on YouTube. This limited fall ball coverage is just, it's always so fun. Great way to look at the start of the season. Obviously, Michigan will more likely than not be heading down to the USF Rawlings Invitational in Tampa, Florida again this year. If and when they go, Kelin and I will be there. Same as last year. Got to run it back after. What a fun trip that was.
That really was a ton of fun.
That was a fun trip.
Always fun to be on the road for WCBN. Had a ton of fun in Iowa last weekend with Adam and Zach. Big Michigan football win. Excited for the opportunities to travel for the playoff season coming up for field hockey and soccer and volleyball. And then obviously men's and women's basketball coming up. Hockey getting going. We're just getting started here at WCBN.
Any trip with Bressler is a riot. That kid knows how to have a good time. I will say, Adam Bressler is just the lifeblood of this station. He keeps things moving
absolutely.
So smoothly and still manages to have an incredible time on road trips.
He was really excited. We stopped in at Casey's on the way, and he was explaining to me how Casey's has a specific flavor of Mountain Dew that they only sell at Casey's. He was really excited to get that chance to get the Casey's exclusive Mountain Dew.
That's the least surprising thing I've heard in weeks. First pitch from Emerson Aiken was a called strike. The second pitch hit on a line towards Audrey LeClaire. It pops out of her glove, but she had plenty of time to recover and make the play for out number 1.
That was an absolute laser. A laser across the diamond from Audrey LeClaire after she fumbled it. Just a beam.
That'll bring up Marty Henkel. Struck out on 3 straight pitches in her first and only time up. First pitch on the way from Emerson Aiken. This one popped up very high, and coming in to make the play from left field is Mattia.
And great communication there between McVeigh and Mattia as McVeigh's called off by her left fielder and avoids a potential collision.
So 2 up and 2 down to start the top half of the 5th inning here. Aiken takes her spot, putting that right foot on the rubber now. First pitch with 2 outs. That one missing inside, ball number 1.
And Emerson Aiken, the second hurler we've seen from Michigan so far today. Obviously, LeBeau, very solid in her limited innings of work. This coaching staff, that's really probably the biggest question for Michigan is that the Wolverines have a lot of changes in the circle, and there's going to be filled not by one person. It's going to take Emerson Aiken. It's going to take Lauren Durkowski. It's going to take Jessica LeBeau and others all filling in to make that work.
Aiken missing badly there. The count goes 2-1. Anderson takes a few hacks and then will step back into the box here. 2-1 count here for Aiken. The wind-up. This one popped up foul. That one will head back over the grandstands and make the count 2-2 now.
That one popped right back into the outdoor camera section where they'll typically have the TV broadcast set up.
Aiken misses the signs the first time, asks for them again. It's a 2-2 count here. Again, 2 outs, no runners on. Bowling Green still looking for their first run of this ball game, and Aiken gets her swinging. Audrey LeClaire is pumped up. A great off-speed pitch got Anderson to chase down to the zone, and that'll retire the side.
And that's now some great work we've seen from Emerson Aiken. Just keeping some consistency, picking right up where LeBeau left off. Wolverine pitching has not skipped a beat so far.
So it's going to be a wholesale substitution for Bowling Green, 9 for 9. An entirely new defensive lineup. That'll be an entirely new offensive lineup as well when they get back in the offensive attack. For Michigan, it's going to be Ellie Sealer, the 3-hitter, due up, followed by Maddie Erickson and Kiki Thole, 3-4-5 to start things off. Wouldn't be surprised to see a few Michigan substitutions trickle in here towards the later portions of this ball game.
And so we have some clarity on the pitching situation for Bowling Green. That's Scarlett Anderson, who's listed on the roster as number 34, donning number 88 today. I will clear up some confusion we had after we received an updated roster. I was starting to think they might have just picked up someone off the street as they were rolling into town.
They did show up to the game, like, not late. Like, they were still here with plenty of time to, like, get their warm-up in and whatever. It didn't impede the flow of the game at all, but
they didn't show up early.
They definitely didn't show up early. We were sitting here for a bit like, they do know that there's a game, right? Like, this game started at 6 o'clock, and it was like 5:40, and there wasn't a single soul in the dugout. There was like tumbleweeds in the dugout.
They do have a pretty sweet heater, though.
I know. I've been looking at that thing all game long. Just, you can see the flames rolling in there.
Scarlett Anderson done a solid job so far, the Rhode Island transfer.
First pitch on the way towards Ellie Sealer, off speed low in the zone. Tries to pull it down the first base line, but knocks it foul.
And the Wolverine offense has really just gone cold. They've had runners on the bases and in scoring position, but they haven't been able to get anyone around third and into home safely. Need this offense to pop here in the 5th.
Another miss there, low in the zone by Anderson, but a nice block by the catcher, Madison Lenig. 1-1 on the way to Sealer. Missing high in the zone, off speed, couldn't drop down. That makes it 2-1 now.
And like you said, a complete wholesale change for Bowling Green. I mean, every single position except for Anderson, who was in the circle last inning, is changed.
Make it 3-1 as another off-speed pitch misses upstairs. Ellie Sealer will have a 3-1 hitter's count when she steps back in. Sealer thus far 0 for 1 with a walk. Flew out towards left field. That walk coming in the first inning also scored. 3-1 pitch her way now. Hit on a line towards right field. Coming in and making the play on the run is number 3, Marley McNutty. So that'll be good for out number 1. That'll bring up the 4-hitter, Maddie Erickson. Erickson listed on the roster as a third baseman and right-handed pitcher. Started today and played most of the day, or actually all of the day thus far, at first base and has looked pretty good over there.
Yeah, you're right, Charlie. She really has, and that's been a really big. That's been something that the Wolverines really like to see, because first base was a position that last year was kind of a combination position for the Wolverines. You saw some of Hannah Carson when she wasn't behind the dish, Lauren Essman at first base on occasion. Lexi Voss was there, so this could provide some consistency at that first base spot.
The 1-0 pitch fouled off, and then Anderson misses low to make the count 2-1. Maddie Erickson kind of pimped that foul ball. Like, she took a big hack, one-handed follow-through, and just launched that thing.
That thing was going
up into the night sky. Like, that thing went higher than light. She turned on that. But Anderson again misses. It'll be a 3-1 count here for Erickson. She'll be looking to transfer that power from the foul ball into something in play here. And looks like she's not going to get to do that. Anderson missing outside. She'll make her way down to first base, and Bonnie Thole immediately walking over to the home plate umpire. Will likely see a pinch runner here.
And I believe that's the second walk we've seen drawn from Erickson. I mean, as a freshman, showing great discipline at the dish to stay back on some of those pitches from Anderson, not chasing. Obviously, in this kind of situation, you'd love to get the crowd juiced up, put one out there, put a ball in play, but result's still the same.
That'll bring up Kiki Thole. We did have a substitution. It's Riley Carkerborough coming into pinch run, and Thole wasting no time getting active here. Hard hit ground ball gets through the infield for her first hit of the day, walked back in the first inning.
And I know I've said it a number of times this broadcast, but I'm going to say it again. Kiki Thole is someone to look out for this year for Michigan as a difference maker. I can really see her stepping up into a bigger role, leadership role, and be one of the key contributors for the Wolverines come the spring.
So 2 runners on now, 1 in Carkerborough in scoring position. That'll bring up Langford. Tried to lay down a bunt. Just barely caught a piece of it. Had that one gotten down, likely all 3 hitters would have reached base safely. The corners of the infield playing pretty much even with the bags and with the speed of Langford that we've mentioned a few times. 0-1 her way, low and in the zone. Count now 1-1. Sun is completely set here in Ann Arbor. I will say, night games here at Alumni Field are, if the view from Alumni Field isn't already incredible, the views at night are just as good. I mean, you get Yost all lit up. You obviously have the lights on the field. You can see the bell tower all lit up way there in the distance.
The IM building doesn't look too bad either.
The IM building does look really cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that bell tower looks just ominous.
Anderson nods yes on 1-2. The pitch, way high. Langford's 5'2" frame, not going to even look in the direction of that ball. Wouldn't have made much of a difference if she was 6'2". That one well high out of the zone. 2-2 from Anderson. That one catches the corner. That one's going to be called strike 3 on Langford. She didn't like that call. But that'll be good for out number 2. That'll bring up Melina Livingston with 2 runners on.
We don't need to discuss what Melina Livingston's done so far this game. I mean, at the dish, she's been tremendous for Michigan. Again, 2 on for Michigan. Would love to punch one in here.
Pass ball from Anderson. Gets away from the catcher. Lenig, nice hustle back to keep the runners from scoring, but both of them advance on the wild pitch. So now it's going to be Karkaborough over at third base, running for Erickson. Kiki Thole over at second. Livingston takes a couple practice hacks. We've now turned all the lights on over at Ray Fisher Stadium, too, so that's all lit up in the distance. 1-0 pitch to Livingston. Called strike right down Broadway.
Wilpon Baseball and Softball Complex looking gorgeous on a lovely October night here in Ann Arbor.
1 ball, 1 strike here for Livingston. The pitch from Anderson. Chased low in the zone. Karkaborough is going to take home plate on the pass ball. That's 2 straight pass balls from Lenig. And Michigan adds another one on. Nice heads-up base running there. And that one good for run number 7.
And we talked about Bowling Green making a complete wholesale change now in the 5th inning. Different catcher behind the dish in Lenning. Her and Anderson still finding some chemistry, and that's led to a run for Michigan.
1-2 pitch to Livingston outside, make it 2-2. As we mentioned, Livingston 1 for 2 so far with a grand slam and a ground out. Takes a deep breath. Now situated more towards the front of the box. The count sits even. The windup. Hit in the air towards right field. Gonna get down, and it's gonna get past the right fielder. 1 run's gonna score. Livingston looking towards the corner. She's waved to third. They might wave her home, and they're gonna hold her up at 3. Be interested to see what that one goes down as. It was definitely gonna drop down for a single, but McNulty must have read the bounce wrong. It bounces past her left hand. And they are going to mark that one down as an error, so I would assume that that's going to go down as a single. Not that it really matters all that much, but Melina Livingston keeps this game, or keeps this inning alive and pushes the score to 8-0 in favor of the Wolverines.
And Melina Livingston, I mean, I talked about it before she got the dish, but she's been by far the biggest contributor at the plate for Michigan so far. Hitting with power, especially into that right field area. Been really successful against the Falcons today.
First 2 pitches for Lexi Voss were both down in the zone, so a 2-0 hitter's count for her when she steps back in. Scarlett Anderson going to try to bounce back after the single-turn triple from Melina Livingston. 2-0 hitter's pitch. This one hit hard, and that one's going to bounce up through the infield.
Lexi Voss got a hold of that one, just pounded it right through the middle of that infield.
Hard hit ground ball that just bounced up over the shoulder of the shortstop. That one will go down as a hit. I mean, it might have hit her shoulder, but like we said, that ball was just hit on the screws. So that one, the second hit of the day for Lexi Voss. 2 for 3 with 2 singles. And that one goes down as an RBI as well. The score now here at Alumni Field, 9-0 in favor of the Wolverines. Quick little mound meeting. Anderson high-fives her infield. Now will take her place back in the circle. It's going to be the shortstop, Ella McVeigh, to step up to the plate.
And if you're Bowling Green, you've got to figure out what's been going on between Anderson and Lenning. You cannot have the pitchers getting past your catcher there and getting back to the backstop. That is really what kept this inning alive for Michigan and what put a couple runs up on the board.
First pitch to McVeigh, check swing, not going to matter, called strike anyway. McVeigh singled her last time up, was left stranded on third. Now she'll settle in with an 0-1 count. The pitch, off speed, missing outside, even and out, 1-1. See a group of kids over there in left field playing some tag over in the grassy area.
You want to go over there and join them, Charlie? You want me to just take over for the rest of the game? You can go have some fun.
Go play freeze tag. I'll freeze them all and then leave. McVeigh chases down in the dirt. Comes up empty. That pushes the count to 1-2. A nice off-speed pitch there from Anderson. Really the first off-speed pitch we've seen her thrown with what seemed like intended location. Her off-speed has been a little all over the place today. McVeigh lines up the bat. The 1-2 pitch. Hit hard on the line. That one's going to get through the infield. Voss took a quick look at third, but's going to elect to stay at second. A beautiful piece of two-strike hitting from Ella McVeigh. And again, this inning continues to move on.
Ella McVeigh there, a slap hitter for Michigan, takes a step up and makes really solid contact, sends it right in between the shortstop and the second baseman, drops in that first bit of grass there in center field, and will keep the Wolverines alive in the fifth.
That'll bring up the 10-hitter Hannah George, 0 for 2 on the day with a line out to right field and reached on fielder's choice in the fourth. First pitch from Anderson her way, bounces up into the glove of Lennig, 1-0. The windup and delivery. Again, missing outside. It'll be a 2-0 hitters count here for George. Plenty of speed on the bases in Voss and McVeigh. Ellie Mattia over on deck, so Michigan keeping their starting lineup in here. The 2-0 pitch to George, off speed, missing high and outside, 3-0.
And you have to expect Michigan to dip into some of those reserves at some point this game. You want to see what everyone on your roster can produce, how everyone on your roster produces in this kind of situation.
George has been swinging on 3-0 all day. Wouldn't be any different here, and she does. Chops it foul down the third base line. That one might have been a little bit outside the zone, but again, it's an exhibition game. Why go up there and work a 4-pitch walk when you can try to get after something that's a little bit close?
And Hannah George, a grad student, someone that you trust at the plate to make smart decisions.
3-1 pitch to George. This one hit hard on the line towards third base, and that's going to get through the legs of the third baseman, Weber. Rounding third base is Lexi Voss. And she's going to score from second base. A nice heads-up piece of base running there and make it 10-0 for Michigan.
And that ball that was grabbed by Hutter in left field and sent back in, got past Weber again. And if it weren't for the quick awareness from Anderson and Godbolt, the first baseman backing up Anderson, McVeigh might have been able to score from third on a second error.
She definitely took a look at it. Like, she rounded hard when she saw that throw kind of go wild. Quick conversation between Bonnie Thole and the home plate umpire. No substitutions making their way out of the dugout yet.
And no need. You have plenty of speed for Michigan on the base paths right now.
First pitch to Mattia, way high from Anderson. That one didn't even get touched, just bounced off the backstop. We heard it hit the backstop, and nice play by Lenning to turn around and retrieve it.
That one was almost so wild that it worked out okay because it bounced straight back.
Anderson follows up the wild pitch by missing low in the zone. It'll be a 2-0 count here for Mattia.
By the time Ella McVeigh had realized that pitch was wild, it was already rolling back up to home plate.
Hitters count here. 2 out, 2 runners in scoring position. Make it a 3-0 count now. That one missing high and outside. Mattia singled to left field in their first time up. Lined out to right after that and walked back in the fourth inning. The 3-0. Missing low, that's going to be a 4-pitch walk, and that'll load the bases. And now here comes Bonnie Thole to have another quick word, and we are going to have a pinch hitter. So coming in relief of Audrey LeClaire is going to be number 8, the freshman from Allen Park, Michigan, Maddie Ramey. So the freshman's going to be able to show off her stuff here. 2 outs, bases loaded in the bottom of the 5th inning. The score, if you're just tuning in, 10-0. Michigan put up 6 runs in the bottom half of the 1st inning, went scoreless for the next 3, and then now, so far in the 5th, they've put up 4 more.
Ramey, another one of these freshmen that are getting some run here for the Wolverines in the fall ball, getting that first taste of true college experience against live competition. This is the kind of at-bat, these are kind of the at-bats that if you're a Michigan coaching staff, you want to see how your players produce.
First 2 pitches her way were called strikes. The 3rd pitch bounces in that right-handed batter's box. So the count 1-2. You saw the face of Ellen McVeigh kind of light up there for a sec when that ball hit the ground. And swung on and missed for Ramey. They're going to throw down to first, and they get her in time in the drop 3rd strike. So the freshman strikes out swinging, and we head to the top of the 6th, but not before Michigan. Another big inning. 4 runs in the bottom half, make it a 10-0 ball game here in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, and the Wolverines in the 5th there really just took advantage of some mistakes from Bowling Green. The Falcons, not quite the cleanest of fielding, to put it lightly, and the Wolverines definitely took advantage of that. A couple of pass balls and on some wild pitches and just some kind of miscommunications between Lenning and Anderson, and just like that, the Wolverines tack on 4 more.
It'll be Emerson Aiken to take her spot in the circle again. And we have a defensive substitution as well. Looks like Kiki Thol's day behind the plate is done, and it's going to be Jessica Garman, the senior from Waterford, Michigan, coming in relief of Thole. Few more substitutions. Carkerborough is going to stay in the ball game at first base. Livingston will enter defensively for the first time today. She'll go over towards 3rd. Maddie Ramey, who just closed out that inning at the plate, will play second base. And then over at shortstop, coming in relief of Ella McVeigh, is going to be Avery Fantucci. Substitutions in the outfield as well. Langford's going to move towards right field from her spot at second base earlier in the ball game. If you're just tuning in, we'd like to thank you for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and also our second channel, WCBN Sports 2, so you never miss out on our coverage. We mentioned a few times earlier, we have a packed weekend coming up. This game going on currently, hockey over on WCBN Sports 2. Tomorrow we have volleyball.
We have volleyball tonight, too.
We have volleyball tonight, too. Yeah, you're right. As well as tomorrow, as well as the football game in Indiana. Packed schedule.
Yeah, like I said earlier, got a great crew road tripping down early at the crack of dawn, probably before the crack of dawn, down to Bloomington tomorrow morning. Some great crews lined up for the rest of the night tonight and tomorrow.
First pitch from Emerson Aiken, a check swing that almost got down in foul territory, but bounces foul. That one coming off the bat of the center fielder, Davis. Delaney Davis, the freshman from Washington, Illinois. Settles in on that left-hand side. Corners in the infield playing up. Middle of the infield even with the bags. And a nice pitch there from Emerson Aiken. That catches the outside corner. Pushes the count 0-2.
And, I mean, if we didn't have such a busy weekend tonight, field hockey's playing in East Lansing. We would have loved to cover that if we didn't have so many events going on here in Ann Arbor.
The 0-2 pitch fouled off. The count will stay 0-2. You know, there are worse problems to have than too many games to cover.
There definitely are. There definitely are much worse problems to have. Shout out William Gregory. Got a 8:30 volleyball call tonight, then making the trek down to Bloomington tomorrow morning Doing it all for WCBN.
That's just dedication right there.
Putting in the late night hours.
That's just putting your nose to the grindstone. 0-2 count here following the foul ball. Aiken checks the wristband, spins the ball in the right hand, now set to deliver. The windup. Check swing, soft line drive over towards Livingston at third, and that one good for out number 1.
And Melina Livingston had a few seconds to really just kind of adjust, do whatever she needed to do there, and then watched it drop right into her glove. Easy catch for the grad student.
So 1 up and 1 down here for Aiken in the top half of the 6th inning. First pitch on the way towards number 3, the right fielder, McNulty. That one seemingly missing low in the zone for ball number 1. Aiken taking her time here getting the signs. Now we'll go to the windup. Missing high. Nice play there behind the plate by Jessica Garman to reel it in.
We talked about the major substitutions that were made by the Bowling Green Falcons last half inning. Now Michigan with some big changes of their own now. Moving some pieces around, letting some new faces get some run.
Hitters count to McNulty, swung on and missed. A sort of half-hearted attempt at a swing, and that'll push the count 2-1.
McNulty has some speed if she can get on the base paths to be a threat.
2-1 pitch, swung on and missed again. Aiken, after falling down in this count, has fought her way right back, blows 2 by McNulty. And now we're all evened out here. Yeah, McNulty can definitely fly her on the base pass. Used heavily as a pinch runner last year for Bowling Green. Was a perfect 100% on stolen bases. As there is a fly ball that makes its way right in front of us.
I think that landed about 2 rows in front of us.
I think
I could have made the play if the window wasn't here.
Yeah, I think come springtime when the windows are open, I think we make that play. We should start bringing gloves into the press box just in case.
Don't tell me about bringing one down to Tampa because that's wide open there at the Donaldson deck.
2-2 pitch on the way, swung on and missed. Nice pitch from Emerson Aiken. And that'll be good for out number 2. Kelin, you know what I was thinking about the other day?
Aaron Judge?
I was thinking about Aaron Judge the other day. As a Yankees fan, this year has been awesome. Obviously, watching Aaron Judge have one of the most dominant offensive seasons in MLB history. And then I was thinking that we saw him take batting practice right before this season. We witnessed the beginnings of the 62 home run season.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, that it was just so extra special that we got to see that the year that he set the American League home run record.
First pitch on the way, chased upstairs and swung on and missed. Hutter a little bit behind that one. Nice pitch by Aiken.
Got to watch the Wolverines catch a victory and then turn around and watch a front runner for the American League MVP just hit baseballs to the moon.
Nice cut there by Hutter. On 0-1, foul backwards into the night sky. An 0-2 count here. Emerson Aiken way in the driver's seat. Has pretty much all the room in the world to work with. No runners on, 2 outs, a 10-run lead in an 0-2 count. Has to be pretty much as comfortable a position as you can be in as a hitter, or as a pitcher rather. She gets her to chase upstairs. Retiring the side is Emerson Aiken. Nice piece of pitching there. We head to bottom 6. So the score, if you're just tuning in, 10-0 in favor of the Wolverines. 6 runs in the bottom of the first inning, 4 of which coming off the bat of Melina Livingston on that line drive grand slam towards right field. And then they went scoreless for 3 straight innings, tacked on 4 in the bottom of the 5th just for some insurance, but I mean, right now all they really would have needed is one.
And that just goes to show the talent that remains in this pitching staff after you lose two superstars in Megan Bobian and Alex Storako. You still have players that can come in and be dominant and perform well for you in obviously a very low-key situation. It's just fall ball scrimmage, but they're doing what they're expected to do. I mean, you can't ask for more.
We do have a pitching change for the Falcons, so Scarlett Anderson's day is done. It's going to be Hannah Davies to take her spot in the circle. Hannah Davies, senior from Waterford, Michigan.
Our Lady of the Lakes grad.
As a non-Michigander, that means absolutely nothing to me.
High school played them in basketball a few times. Had a cousin that went to Our Lady of the Lakes.
There you go.
Yeah. Little homecoming here, coming back to Ann Arbor.
I guess so,
Not too far from Waterford.
I know there's not too many fun hometowns on the side of Bowling Green. Shout out Nabil Beg for his infamous Hometown Hero segment. Just looking at it, I mean, actually, Rancho Santa Margarita, California
that's an awesome hometown.
Awesome hometown. Other than that, Dublin, Ohio is pretty funny. But yeah, actually, Rancho Santa Margarita is awesome. That's an awesome
Yeah, I don't know
name.
what you're talking about. That's an that's
was
A tier.
That was the last one I had seen. That was the last one I had seen. Cut me a break. It's late, okay? First pitch towards Ellie Sealer, called strike in the outside corner. Showed bunt for a second, but pulled it back. Didn't matter. Nice job by Davies establishing her position on that outer half early. Sealer still looking for her first hit of this ball game. Walked and scored in the first inning. Since then, has flown out to both left and right field. The 0-1 miss, so the count will go 1-1. Davies goes to the glove. Now a big windup. Catching the corner again, make it 1-2. And if you're these Michigan hitters, you're going to have to look to attack the outside corner a little bit more. Obviously, you would like the strike zone to stay consistent, but in a 10-run ball game in the middle of October when it's 13 degrees outside, you might get that stretched around a little bit, especially as we're closing in on 8 p.m. Sealer fouls off the 1-2, so the count stays the same. A little bit of action down in the Bowling Green bullpen as some players run down. One-two pitch from Davies. That one missing low by the shins of Ellie Sealer. The count goes 2-2.
Nothing going on the Wolverines side of the bullpen. Looks like Emerson Aiken will continue for Michigan.
The 2-2 from Davies is hit high and in the air towards left field, settling under it at the very last second is the left fielder Hutter. For a second, it looked like that ball might have had the distance to make its way over the fence. Maybe a little bit more down the line, it would have been able to push its way over, but nevertheless, a nice piece of hitting there by Ellie Sealer, a nice quality swing, and that'll bring up Riley Carkerborough.
Just not quite enough juice there. That's about the third or fourth ball we've seen the Wolverines send out to the warning track. Just a little more pop. And we're looking at a 12-13 run lead instead of 10. Which in the grand scheme of things really doesn't matter that much, but
First pitch to the junior Carkerborough was a ball. Make that 2 straight balls. She'll have a 2-0 hitters count when she steps back in. You know, just as Aiken didn't really have much pressure on her shoulders in the circle, you got to think the same is, well, in a different sense, the same is true for Hannah Davies here, as the count now goes 3-0. In a 10-0 ball game like this, you're just, trying to take care of business the best you can personally, controlling what you can personally control. 3-0 to Carcaboro upstairs, making a 4-pitch walk. That'll bring up Jessica Garman again. She in substitution of Kiki Thole. It'll be her first at-bat of the day. One out, one runner on. First pitch towards Garman, right across the letters for a called strike one. Garman takes a quick little walk outside the batter's box and now come and settle in. 0-1 count coming her way. The pitch from Hannah Davies. Swung on and popped up. This one back in no man's land behind second base, but a nice play there by the second baseman, Fry, to track it through the lights and reel it in for out number 2.
Nice communication, good read there by Fry. Calls off her center and right fielders. Makes the play herself.
That'll bring up Langford. First pitch. Catches the outside corner for a called strike one. Freshman Indiana Langford, her first time up, an RBI single. Ended up scoring off the grand slam from Melina Livingston that came just moments later. Shows bunt on the 0-1, but pulls it back, makes the right call.
And Langford started off the game at second base, now moved out into right field, showing her versatility on the defensive side for Michigan.
1-1 count here in the battle between Davies and Langford. The windup and the pitch hit softly down the third base line, but foul. So Davies one strike away from getting her team back in on the offensive end. Well, they'll have all sorts of work to do if they want to try and take the lead here. The 1-2 pitch from Davies. Outside. Call it 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 1 runner's on here for Indiana Langford at the plate. Deep breath from Davies. Now the windup. Outside, make it a full count.
Nice discipline there from Indiana Langford.
2 outs, full count. Carcaboro will be going on the pitch.
Can be tough to let a pitch go by with 2 strikes.
The payoff, fouled off. Nice play there by Sophie Weber to track it down off the bounce off the wall. Count stays full. Carcaboro will go again. The payoff pitch from Davies. Fouled off again. You see a nod of approval from Bonnie Thole over there at third base, commending her freshman hitter.
Love to see that from a freshman, battling, staying alive in the count, really making the pitcher earn it.
The 3-2. Low and in the zone, working a nice full count walk is Langford. And that'll bring up Melina Livingston to the plate.
And that's textbook at the plate there. Get down on a hole, work your way back, and then just foul everything on off until the pitcher makes a mistake. And that's exactly right what happened right there. Davies just misses low, and Indiana Langford will take first base freely.
Livingston steps into that right-handed batter's box. First pitch her way, missing outside. And if you're going to miss to Melina Livingston, that's where you want to miss, away from her. You don't want to miss any of your spots and leave anything over the plate because she will punish you.
And a lot of speed on the base paths for Michigan. Don't be shocked if one goes, the other goes as well.
Called strike at the knees, makes the count 1-1. Couple big practice hacks from Livingston. Knocks some dirt off her cleats, now steps in. The 1-1 on the way. Big swing and a miss from Livingston. Make it 1-2 now. She'll take a little bit of a walk. 2 outs, 2 runners on, and another big hack from Livingston over in foul territory. That's one thing that she does that not a lot of hitters do is her practice swings are just, she is swinging for the fences on her practice swings.
She grips and rips.
1-2, missing outside, make it 2-2. So a whole bunch of 2s across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 runners on. Davies tosses the ball up and catches in her own glove a few times. Now we'll set to deliver. The pitch to Livingston. Fouled up this way, right in front of us, landing about 6 rows in front of the press box.
I don't know that I would have been able to reach that one.
Yeah, that one.
That one would have been tough.
Yeah, I'm not getting to that one. I would have really had to put my body on the line for that one and just leave my headset here, dive out, crawl over some fans. Not worth it.
Climb back up through the window.
Exactly. The 2-2 to Livingston. This one hit high and deep towards right field, but making its way over into the Michigan bullpen.
And Melina Livingston has just been really squaring up these balls and just putting a charge into them. That's the 4th ball that we've seen Livingston hit with power. Not all of them have been fair, but obviously we've seen when she really connects what she's capable of.
The 2-2 again. Rings her up on the inside corner. Nice pitch there from Davies to retire the side. So we head to the top of the 7th. Michigan just needs 3 and a handshake. And then they can make their way home and try to warm up.
And remember, 8 o'clock right now. At 8:30, don't go anywhere, because on WCBN Sports, this channel right here, moments after we're done, Michigan's coverage of volleyball will be underway. The volleyball team taking on Minnesota at the Chrysler Center. KG Foley, William Gregory, and Kobe Siegel on the call for WCBN Sports. Would love to have everyone stick around and show the show the volleyball team some love in a tough matchup against a Gophers team that's always one of the best in the country.
I mean, you talk about power in conferences. You think of the SEC, you think football. Big Ten is that for volleyball. I mean, you look at teams like, obviously, the Minnesotas, the Wisconsins, the Penn States. Nebraska's always solid. Michigan's always solid. Like, there are just so many teams in the conference who are, top 25, top 15, even top 10 teams.
Yeah, and I'd say the same thing for field hockey. The Big Ten is a dominant conference in field hockey as well. I mean, you look at programs like Iowa, Michigan, Rutgers, Northwestern, all some of the best in the country. Penn State, top 10 team as well.
Throwdown comes from Jessica Garman. It'll be Emerson Aiken to take the circle one more time. So it'll be Sophie Weber to step up to the plate. Weber batting 4th. It'll be 4-5-6, and Weber swings on the first pitch, knocks it foul. Livingston tried to track it, but it's over the fence.
And Melina Livingston just took off on a tear. She's playing with great energy here tonight. I mean, it's a 10-0 game in October, and she's coming out with great burst, great energy.
0-1 pitch from Emerson Aiken. The windup. Off speed, just missing outside. It'll go 1-1. Livingston's just one of those players that, you want to have in the locker room. Always high energy, always going to give you 110%, no matter if she's getting one at-bat a game or if she's starting and playing the entire time, or if she's on the bench the entire game. She's going to give you 110% no matter what. As Aiken finds a nice one on the inside corner there for strike number 2. Speaking of energy all the time, this home plate umpire has been just loud the whole time.
That last one was especially, he put his all into that one.
The 1-2 pitch. Well high. Jessica Garman, nice snag there to reel it in.
He's got to let that scoreboard operator all the way up here know what the call is.
That is true. There will be very few miscommunications as Sophie Weber fouls off another one. The count stays 2-2.
And Charlie, I'll pose this to you. For Michigan, they got one more fall ball game left. Is there anything you really want to see out of them before this slate closes?
I really think you need to kind of assess. I mean, they have been thus far through their first three, but you really kind of have to assess what you have in the bullpen. As there's a ball hit down the line, it's going to get past the left fielder and rounding first base and settling in at second with a nice double is Sophie Weber. Great piece of hitting there. Ellie Mattia put her body on the line in left field, but just couldn't quite reel it in.
That was a really close call. I think that caught some of that white turf down there along that left field line. That was really, really tight.
Yeah, if that ball was fair, that was fair by an inch, maybe two. Following the double, Aiken goes right back to the changeup. A nice pitch, a called strike in the outside corner.
And you talked about the bullpen for Michigan. I agree. I think that is something that is not something you're calling a concern, but something you just want to evaluate and have a good handle on going into the spring season and all those early season tournaments down in Florida.
Emerson gets her to go around in the check swing, so now she's ahead in this count 0-2. Weber over there on second base, trying to give some words of encouragement. Bowling Green at least looking to put one across here in the top of the seventh. Another off-speed pitch dribbled down the third baseline.
Michigan taking on UD Mercy the 13th to close out the fall ball slate. Again at Alumni Field. WCBN should have coverage of that game per usual.
I know I will be up here in the booth. We'll see who's up here with me.
I should be able to make it work.
Let's run it back.
Why not?
Let's run it back.
Get that chemistry crisp for February.
0-2 pitch on the way to Chevalier. That one low and in the dirt. Great scoop by Jessica Garman.
I've been really impressed with, obviously, Kiki Thole, but Garman, too. Both of these catchers from Michigan have done a really nice job kind of filling in and replacing Hannah Carson, who was one of the key members of this team last year. Really hasn't looked like this team has missed a beat behind the dish.
0-2 pitch on the way from Aiken. Again, low and in the dirt. Nice stop there by Garman to keep it in front. Count goes 2-2. You mentioned Hannah Carson, obviously a rock behind the plate for Michigan for a good number of years. It was kind of that combo deal with both Bobby and Storako, as Aiken just misses outside with a changeup. But Kiki Thole the entire time was just waiting, biding her time, working on her game. We saw her in limited action every once in a while, giving Carson a break, and in that she looked good offensively, and she looked good defensively too, but there was definitely a noticeable sort of drop-off. I say noticeable just due to the fact that Carson was, such a great defensive catcher. But, I mean, at the start of this game, we had nothing but incredible things to say about Kiki Thole. She looked so good behind the plate through the first portion of this game. Following a string of foul balls, it's a 3-2 count here. Aiken to deal, swung on and fouled off again. What an at-bat this is.
Yeah, both Aiken and is that Weber at the dish? Or no, excuse me.
3-2 count here. No outs, one runner on. Aiken set to deliver again. This one, changeup low and bounces off home plate. So working a well-earned walk is Chevalier. That'll put 2 runners on with no outs here in the top of the 7th inning. And we're going to have a quick meeting on the mound as Scarlett Anderson steps up to the plate. Quick little meeting between the Bowling Green base runners over on first as well.
And top 7, this kind of situation, 10-run ball game. Coaching staff's coming up there and saying, hey, let's get this wrapped up.
Yeah, don't worry about the base runners. Just
do your thing.
Just play your one at the plate, and everything else will fall into place. Anderson struck out swinging her last time up. Aiken got the better of her as she misses inside here for ball number 1. Deep breath from Aiken now. The 1-0 pitch. Nice change up down in the dirt. Gets Anderson to chase. That'll even it out 1-1. One ball, one strike, no outs, 2 base runners on for Bowling Green. Some Let's Go Michigan chants come from the crowd. The 1-1 pitch from Aiken. Catches the inside corner for a called strike 2. Anderson unhappy with that call.
Another emphatic strike call from our home plate umpire. Anything in the infield here has a chance to turn 2 for Michigan.
The 1-2 pitch from Aiken swung on and missed. Got Anderson to chase the riser and sits her down for the second straight at bat. That'll put 1 out up on the board, and now a double play would end this game.
Emerson Aiken showing some emotion there afterwards. Talking to her catcher behind the plate, Garmin. Both of them fired up after that strikeout.
That'll bring up Macy Godbolt, who swings on the first pitch and hits it in the outfield. That'll drop down for a single. Firing it in from left field is Mattia.
And Mattia with a nice strike back into the infield to preserve the shutout for Michigan. Bases loaded now. Going to be a tough situation to preserve that, but real quick throw in will hold the runner at third.
I didn't even have enough time to speak to the offensive ability of Godbolt. She swings on the first pitch and rips a single through the infield. It's now bases loaded with 1 out. The pitch from Aiken swung on and missed. Nice pitch there. Trying to handcuff her, forced an awkward swing from the catcher, Lenig.
Lenig with some struggles behind the plate today defensively, but looking to remedy that at the dish. Now 2 runners in scoring position. Bases loaded.
Swung on and missed again. Aiken got her to chase upstairs. She's now well ahead in this count, 0-2.
This is the kind of situation you'd really like to see Emerson Aiken to really kind of push the boundary a little bit. See what she can do. Don't go right over the plate. Try to get the hitter to chase here as that one's fouled back.
Yeah, like we talked about before, it's a 10-run ball game with 1 out here in the last inning. You got an 0-2 count. Mess around a little bit. Try maybe test something out that you've been workshopping in practice. Just see what you can do. Trust your ability and trust your defense behind you, who's been fantastic so far. The 0-2 just missing outside. The rise ball a bit too far out.
I like that pitch there from Aiken. There's no reason not to. You've got some pitches to play with. You're expecting Lenig to be defensive at the plate. See if you can get her to chase and miss on the rise ball up high.
The 1-2 on the way. Swung on, chopped foul. Count will stay 1-2. Definite potential to turn a double play here. Corners are playing pretty much even with the bag, maybe in a maybe even a step behind, middle of the infield, playing back, definitely looking to turn two. The windup from Aiken, swung on and missed. Threw her off balance with the off speed, and now it's 2 outs on the board. Everyone can settle back into their spot. Michigan needs 1 out, and they can shake hands and go home.
Fantastic pitching there from Aiken. Pressure situation, able to just keep focus on the batter at the plate and get the strikeout.
First pitch to the second baseman, Fry, is a called strike. So no balls, 1 strike, 2 outs here. Bases juiced for Bowling Green, looking to at least put a few across the board. 0-1 from Aiken. Catches the inside corner, make it an 0-2 count. You know, we talked about before, you know, kind of playing around on 0-2, seeing what you can do, but with 2 outs, just look to close this one out.
Just get it done. That's the bottom line.
Aiken spins the ball in the right hand, goes to the glove. The pitch just missing low. Count now 1-2. Aiken walks to the back of the circle. And now we'll step forward, settling in. The windup. Swung on and missed. Emerson Aiken gets her to chase the rise ball. And Michigan wins in commanding fashion at Alumni Field. Final score, Wolverines 10, Bowling Green Falcons nothing. All they would have needed was 1, but they came out and started hot. And looks like we're going to play the bottom of the 7th. So Michigan just looking for a few extra here. But would this be a regular ball game? It would have ended there. So we'll get a few more at-bats for the Wolverines. It's going to be Lexi Voss to lead us off.
And the Wolverines, I mean, it's been a tale of 2 innings and then everything else. The first inning and the 5th inning, Wolverines put up 6 and 4, all their runs coming in bunches. Other than that, they've been held quiet, had runners in scoring position, had opportunities, but weren't able to capitalize in any of those situations. And when it rains, it pours, I guess, for this Michigan offense.
Yeah, it's definitely something you're going to look for later in this season for Michigan. There were times last year where the bats went cold and they really struggled to pull wins together. Luckily, a great defense and a great pitching staff could pull them through some of those games where they only had 1 or 2 hits.
I mean, there really were games last year where all you needed was 1, and you were confident that Bobian or Storako and whoever was on the mound and that defense was going to get you through it. But it was all about the bats just putting 1 or 2 up there and then letting their pitchers go to work.
There have been definite bright spots throughout this game for the Michigan offense. Obviously, Willie Livingston has looked great up there at the plate. Lexi Voss has looked good as well. Ella McVeigh's been taking quality swings. Audrey Leclerc, I mean, I don't think there's been maybe one or two, but there have been very few balls put in play today by Michigan that weren't hit just right on the screws.
And again, it's fall ball. It's not Georgina Cork on the mound at the Rawlings Invitational, but this is the kind of environment where you can learn a lot about your team and you start to put things together and figure things out. And so it is really encouraging to see the Wolverines having a lot of success today.
The 2-0 pitch to Lexi Voss, a called strike towards the top half of the zone. Suddenly got a lot more ominous as the lights at Ray Fisher Stadium turn off. 2-1 pitch to Voss. This one way high up near her eyes. Can't really chase that one, so it'll be a 3-1 hitter's count here. Voss 2 for 3 so far today with a pair of singles and an RBI. She takes a big cut on 3-1. 3 balls, 2 strikes, no outs here for Lexi Voss. Davies settles in. The windup on the payoff pitch. Swung on, fouled off. We'll do it again.
If you're Lexi Voss at the dish, you're just trying to keep fighting, keep battling, try to put something in play. I mean, the game's decided at this point. It's just all about getting some hacks in, getting some good reps in against live competition.
So a full count here for Lexi Voss. And we will see maybe one more at-bat here for our coverage here at Alumni Field. Again, right after this game, in exactly 12 minutes, Michigan volleyball will get going. So, you know what, this will probably be the last at-bat we see. So, Kelin, wrapping things up for now so we don't run into volleyball, what were the main takeaways you have from today?
Well, I think you have to be really encouraged with the pitching, that being from Jessica LeBeau and Emerson Aiken, as Lexi Voss draws a walk. They both pitched really well. LeBeau especially, 6 strikeouts through 4 innings of work, I believe. That's very encouraging for the rest of this season, because pitching was, I think, definitely the biggest question mark coming into this 2023 season for the softball team. And I think that question is, you're starting to get a little more clarity. I wouldn't say it's been answered yet, because that's going to be a tough thing to answer at this point in the season, and you're going to really have to wait till you get going in the fall, or in the spring, in late winter, to really answer that. But I think you've got some encouraging signs with some of these players that are going to have to step up from last year.
Absolutely. So with that, that is going to do it for WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball live here from Alumni Field. My name is Charlie Brigham, alongside me, Kelin Flynn. Don't go anywhere, though. Stick around the YouTube channel for a little bit. In about 10 minutes, we will be back live with Michigan coverage of Michigan, or with WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan volleyball. But for Charlie Brigham and Kelin Flynn, Alumni Field, we're going to leave you like we always do with a good night and a Go Blue.